Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. That lovely music was my buddy Julian, who just dropped his latest album.
Oh,
It's
it was so
called
good.
Spinning Heartache into Gold is the name of the album. You can get, I insisted on a CD version, even though I don't have a CD player, because I wanted his autograph. I'm like, you have to sign it. And so he wrote to Swamp Mama.
Oh,
nice.
awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
And
I love that
yeah,
music. That just kind of
that's his Mardi Gras. He wrote that for Dr. John to sing, but he could never get through Dr. John's people to get it to Dr. John to listen to. And so after a while he said, screw it, I'll just do it myself. And I'm like, I'm so glad because that means I get to take it. So
Yeah.
perfect.
and he lets me use it. And but that's his newest album. It's on the YouTube music thing. It's on the Apple podcast or iTunes, whatever. What are all the Spotify? Is that it?
Yeah.
All the ones that have music, you can find the album there. Just spinning. What does it say again? Spinning Heartache into Gold. That's his new one.
Beautiful.
By Julian Primo, and he's got a YouTube channel. You can go to his channel here online and check out his music.
Got so many talented people out there. Honestly, that's great.
Yeah, we're very lucky in that respect. Yes, very much so. So thank y'all for showing up today and coming. I have with me my wonderful sisters, Val from Dragonfly Crystals and Next Level Channeling, Allie from Heart and Soul Connected, and Marina from Heart Centered Tarot. And tonight we're going to talk about setting boundaries with relationships, how to not be taken advantage of, which when you're in a service industry, it's very easy for other people to take advantage of your generosity and your kindness. And it's not that we don't want to be generous and kind to others. We do. And we make those choices when spirit tells us, but then it's to be constantly bombarded with request after request after request for the same thing, and it's like, this is how I make a living. You don't expect your plumber to come fix the drain and not pay him because he lives across the street,
Yes.
He's still a plumber and he has to pay for his stuff. So but it's just a topic I came across and kept getting reinforced this week with other things I was doing. I kept coming up across things with boundaries and relationships. And I'm like, okay, I guess I picked the right topic. So, but before we get into all of that, real quick, Val, what do you have coming up that you would like everybody to be aware of?
Now that you mention it, let me check here.
Get out your calendar, lady.
I have my calendar, everyone. Sisters of the Mystical Tarot today, of course, we're doing it right now. And messages for Lightworkers. Tomorrow, I am going to be on the 16th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, with Valerie B. on Illumination Portal. Catch me
She's
on
so
there.
sweet.
And I'm going to have... Really? I'm going to have Arthur on my channel on the 17th, everyone. It's a Saturday at 4 p.m.
Wow.
Awesome. Nothing wrong with that.
4 p.m. Pacific time. And that's enough excitement. Oh, and Allie is going to be on the 20th, the next week, explore the Akash on my channel on the 20th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's what's
Yay.
Yay.
Oh,
and sign up for classes if you are ready to step forward and use your gifts and abilities for yourself and others in the world. Go to dragonflycrystals.store and sign up for those classes. Some are very modestly priced so that they can fit into your budget. And it just requires you taking that step. Dragonflycrystals.store. Thank you for my ad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, I got to slip this up there real quick. Ray says this topic makes me realize I need to talk to a freaking.
We all do, honey. Brady, we all do. Yeah,
We all need therapy.
we do.
Best
Right.
five bucks I ever spent.
Celtic Seer says it's an interesting subject since Pisces is a sign that has a hard time setting boundaries, and Saturn will leave that sign on May 25th, which happens to be my late husband's birthday. So,
Oh, well, what do you know about that? He was a Gemini.
made him a Gemini, not a Pisces.
Both of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Our birthdays were a week apart.
Oh,
6
my.
years and a week apart. So we always
Yeah.
celebrated on
And my
Memorial
husband
Day
and I are
weekend.
6 years on the same day.
Oh, you have the same
Oh,
birthday?
wow.
Wow.
We were
That's
6
cool.
years. He was 6 years older than me and 1 week because his birthday was the 25th and mine's the 3rd.
And
And
we're
so just,
6 years apart. He's older than me.
Yep.
March 7th.
that's he can't ever forget. So,
No.
That's true. Can't forget your birthday.
You can't
Yes.
mess up.
when I picked our wedding date, well, it was really kind of a fluke. I just said, fine, the last Sunday in July. And it just so happened that year it was the last day of July as well. So
Yeah.
I told my husband, you have no excuse now. All you have to do is remember the last day of July is my
I mean, how
anniversary.
hard is that, folks?
Yeah. And I was usually the one that forgot. So, he would remember and I would forget. Allie, what you got coming up? What
Ooh,
you
what you
doing? You've
got?
been busy lately.
Yeah, I've been putting out some pre-recorded videos for 10, 15 minutes, something like that, because I just
I
feel like
love 'em.
some people have less time to go to a live. But tomorrow I'm going to be on with White Dragon Paul, Diana, and Diane G, who are all doing work on Arcturian ships above us. So we'll be talking with
Cool.
them, doing some stuff with them. After that, I have a members meeting, and we have special guests coming. And so, so come on over and see who's going to be there. And of course, we have, some
Special
readings
guests
and
for our
other
members
things.
meeting. Yay. I'm a member of Allie's channels.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. And then
Yeah.
Friday, I've got a couple of shows going, including one with Marina at 7 my time. And it's Story in the Cards. But I do have a couple other shows going on. So, yeah, there you go. What about you, Marina?
Yay. What about you, Marina?
What about me? Well, without going into everything this week, best thing to do is go to my YouTube channel, go in the posts, used to be called community, scroll down. I post my schedule every week. So whatever day, where I'm going to be, and the links to that channel and so on. So go check that out. But on Saturday, the 17th, I've got members get together. So for those who are members of the channel, make sure I've got your email so I can send you the invite. And then on next Saturday, the 24th, is the 7th Shine Your Light event.
Wow.
So very much looking forward to that. We're seeing results. So yeah, need everyone to do that. And just like Val, on my website, marinasheartcentertarot.com, check into the classes. I do have a special Achieving Union course that is actually starting tomorrow on the 15th. So, you can start the beginning of the month, the 15th of the month. All the information is there. Just make sure you email me and I'll send it out to you. And it's easy, heartcentertarot@outlook.com. That's it.
Yay.
Okay.
And I can personally attest that Val and Marina give great classes. So, don't miss out on that.
Thank you,
And
Shari.
I've never taken a class from Allie, but when it comes to interviews, nobody does it better. This woman has got it locked. Let me tell you. I watch interviews and I take notes. It's like
Allie teaches the psychic mediumship class with me, and she is phenomenal at helping everyone move through really feeling comfortable being psychic medium. So, and also in the Akashic Records class. So, yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
And for me, I've got let's see, Sisters, which we're at right now, and Friday we're gonna is The Other Side of the Coin, a new show that Mel started up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hosted by Gerald Terrell Stash this week. So we'll be over on his channel at 6 p.m. Central Friday evening. And then Saturday afternoon, I will be a guest on Adam's Stargazing Astrology and Tarot at 4 o'clock Central. I'll be a guest on his channel. And I don't know if it's going to be live or recording. I just know I'm going to be there at 4 o'clock. So it's like, okay, fine. And then Saturday night, of course, is the slumber party. And this week is Ramon's week. So he will be with me this Saturday, and which is always fun. He cracks me up. And other than that, I've a few things backstage here, there, and everywhere for Arthur and Colleen and a few others. And yeah, just I've been trying to kind of ease back a little bit because I've been getting more personal requests for personal readings, which I desperately need to do. And and that, and just trying to work on doing things more for my members. I'm working on trying to get a website going and all of that stuff, so it makes it easier for members to, or for anybody for that matter, to be able to schedule a reading or check a schedule, or it'll all be in one place. So I'm working on that. So
That's fantastic.
hope to have it done by the end of summer. So so like I said, tonight's topic was boundaries within relationships. And how do we, without completely cutting off another person, and sometimes you have to cut them off because they just don't get it. Even when you're blunt, they still just don't get it. You still have to
sometimes.
Sometimes that happens. But it's how to deal with letting someone know, okay, you're taking advantage of a courtesy that I provided, or you're taking advantage of a friendship that we have because you're expecting me to do things above and beyond what you're willing to give to the relationship. Ask divorce lawyers. They can tell you all about it, so there's a lot of marriages that end up that way because one gives and the other just takes, and there's no reciprocity going on there. And so basically that's just where my brain's been for the last couple of weeks. And I guess we'll start with Val this way. She's over there. And she's that way. We'll start with Val and her ideas and pick her brain and how does she deal with it? Does she even deal with it?
I love this subject because being a Pisces, the first things that you have to learn in the first 30 years of your life is how to say no to people and how to put in some boundaries, because we are nothing if not, shall we say, passive aggressive. Later you go, and resent even though we're doing it for them. So you learn how to be direct, and you learn later on in life how to say no so that you don't build up. You have to be your authentic self and know when you really want to say no and you really don't have time. And I just want to address Maureen's question. It's not a question, but I love it. I wish I could learn to set boundaries with my mom. I can't stand up to her and say no. She has an amazing way of emotionally manipulating me. Because, Maureen, that is a perfect description of how people get their boundaries encroached upon. family is the number one key to pushing on those.
Culprit.
Yes, they're big culprits. So the way you would do that is to say, Mom, you know I love you, but right now I have other things on my plate that I'm doing, and I'm not available for that anymore. I hope you understand, but I've had to cut back on a few things in my life so that I can get other things done that I need to. Thank you, and I love you. Boom. Done.
Yes. Yeah. And don't fall for the, well,
Don't
what have you got going on? I only need 5 minutes of your time.
Don't fall for the giving them what it is. It's none of their beeswax. You've already said the no. No means no, right? Marina has a saying.
Which is what we teach our children, and then they turn around and watch us give in.
Yeah, it's a full sentence. No is a full sentence, but
no is a full sentence. Thank you, Allie. No is a full sentence. Okay. Yeah. So you do not have to give your mom, your kids, or your friends a longer explanation than I'm reworking my schedule and I don't have time for that right now, nor will I in the future, even though if it's your mom, you're going to say, Mom, I love you. Blah, 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 blah. And either head out the door so you don't stay for manipulation or whatever it is you're going to do. Anything beyond that is manipulation. You've already told her. There's nothing more to be said. The subject has been completed. You've given her the answer to, can I help you with blah, blah, blah? Or can you help me with? You said no. Mm-hmm. Okay. So one of the items that came up that Shari had is a good one about if you have different pricing on you can use this for many different things, but if you have different pricing and you've raised your price on your readings, because maybe you started at a very low price, just to introductory to get yourself out there as a reader. All of you who are watching, many of you are readers. It is perfectly fine for you to raise your price. And if somebody emails you or says anything about it to you, don't respond. It is not something you need. Yes, you raise your price. You don't owe them a reason. You don't owe them an explanation. Yeah. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a response. They don't have any say in what you're pricing. They don't have to have a reading from you anymore if that price isn't right for them, nor should they. They should not spend the money if they don't have the money. But in all good fairness, energy needs to have an exchange, an even exchange. So when you're feeling like your readings are really substantial and you're giving something that is, an hour of solid, strong assistance to that person, there has to be that equal energy coming back, or you're not going to feel good about it. As a reader, it's not going to feel good energetically, and you won't know why. It's because you just spent an hour of your energy connecting and giving information, and you didn't get that same energy back. It's the respect and regard and energy in that monetary form. So you don't owe anyone an explanation for why you are this price on your reading. Yeah. And I have to say, if you have friends who are asking for readings and they're asking for free readings and they're asking, I have to say, just like with mom, I love you, honey, but my schedule is just too, tight. And I've had to cut back on a lot of things because I don't really have the energy or time. I know what my bandwidth is, and I need to slow it down. And this is one of the things that bites into my energy and slows me down and takes more downtime to refill my cup, so to speak. So I'm not doing that anymore. But thank you for considering me for your free reading. No, you don't have to say that, but
if you can get a dig in,
that would be a dig, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, the boundary thing is this. If it encroaches on you, you really don't want to do it, but you think you have to be a good girl. You have to be good, be magnanimous. Nails on a chalkboard. Ding, ding, ding. Stop. You didn't schedule that onto your calendar. You didn't have that. It's going to cut into your downtime. It's cutting in somewhere. It's cutting into your schedule. You don't have it on your schedule. It's not something that you can just keep giving sound bites of yourself away, tapping into and reading for everyone freely, because you have to really monitor your energy level at this stage of the game with all this high frequency coming in. You really have to take note of how you're managing your energy, keeping yourself up, keeping yourself high vibration, not letting yourself get overwhelmed when we can get cranky and we just have too much on our plate. Who's going to do that? Only you. So manage your energy levels by saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't, that doesn't fit into my schedule. In fact, I've stopped doing that because I need to be able to do everything else on my schedule. So
yeah.
That's it.
I know with myself, it's also to remind people, I still work a full-time job.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh my gosh,
so it's like
yes.
I've only got so many hours a day. Stuff, and it's like I need time to just unplug and let my brain go to mush,
You do.
and not feel guilty about it.
And Allie,
before you wrap up, Val, I wanted to put this up what Brenna said because it's so true.
Southern women,
I know it's not necessarily just a Southern woman thing, but
it's pretty
Southern. So strongly
ingrained
in your brain.
You're like a little servant, and oh mama, let me go get you that peach pie, and I'm gonna put in your tea. Oh, you wanted some milk in that? Let me run back to the refrigerator. Let me get you that iced tea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you wanted your socks darned? Okay, I'll darn them. I mean, it isn't. It's the steel magnolia, but I've known a lot of Southern women, and they do really have it ingrained in them to be that magnanimous person who does everything.
That's that was my mother-in-law. That was my mother-in-law.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
Your turn, Allie.
Well, my mother-in-law was, I didn't get a chance to really have her very long because she passed within a few years of me being married to Keith. I had several others, but I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, she was a Southern lady. And somebody would call and say that her son owed money or something like that. And she would defend him to the death. She was always being dumped on and she put up with it. She would have, Mom, I got to go. Or sometimes they didn't even ask. They just brought the kid over, went into the bathroom, and then left and drove away without the kid. It's like, oh, Mom's here. I don't have to worry anymore. And so I would say the best thing my own mother taught me was a boundary of, you had your kid, I had my kid, I raised my kid, you raise your kid. If I want to take your kid, I'll come over and say, I'd like to take your kid, and she wasn't adverse if I had an emergency or, if I let her know ahead of time, but she always said, don't just expect that I'm here to babysit for you, or you know what I mean? And she loved her grandchildren. I have
to say, Allie, that your mom said the same thing my mom and dad said to me.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I love that about her because when I was at my mother-in-law's and I'm watching this whole thing and I'm thinking, my husband's kids could come over and do that to me or him. And they did. They did it to him. It was an expectation. So I think the hardest thing with some of the comments here in the chat with mothers or daughters or particularly women, I'm sorry to say, is that we didn't have a boundary with them for some reason. And now when you instill one, it's like, oh, what are you doing? You never, it's like you're, Attila the Hun or something, that you're doing something that's so not like you, but we have a right to do that. We have a right to do it with our parents. We have a right to do it with our children, with our friends, if we need to.
It's claiming our sovereignty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how worthy are we of our own time? How worthy are we if we let everybody else walk all over us? We don't love ourselves that much if we do that. Now, I will say one of my channel perks is that I am amenable to answering any of my members' questions. 15-minute reading is what I say. And if they say, I say, you can send me an email, you can, for the month. That's part of what you're paying for. Because I can't always call on my members.
No, that's
everybody else.
Members. Your members are paying.
My members are different.
Giving them, so that's a
totally. And I don't really get anybody that's ever taken. No one's taken advantage of me, but I do know that most people know I work 4 jobs, and they're actually like, I didn't want to bother you, and I'm like, no, it's okay, But I agree with you, and it is a reciprocation, and it is whether it's buying somebody a cup of coffee, or it's, what is another reciprocation as far as I'm concerned? And Jill Sinanan brings it up all the time. Write on my show notes after the show and say hearts and stars and whatever, and thank you and blah, 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 because it helps my algorithm and these girls' algorithm. And I never really have asked for that, but I have some people that always do that for me. And I can't thank them enough. I cannot thank them
there's
enough.
that handful of people that I don't care if it's my channel, someone else's channel. If I'm on with them, even for some of the people that I just do background work for, that I'm not even on the camera, they make a point of leaving a comment directed at me. And it's like, that is just,
it can be a star or a heart.
Nothing but a thumbs up is fine.
So that's an important thing.
I have to
and Tea Garden Chicken, I love what you're saying. By respecting yourself and having boundaries, you model what a whole person is. You owe it to your heart and soul. You do. Yes. Thank you, Tea Garden Chicken. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we as women have a tendency not to ask for anything for ourselves, or not to do things for ourselves.
True.
And we have to.
And we're not selfish if we say, nope, I think I'm going to take a hot bath tonight, or I'm going to leave early so I can have a cocktail.
And a lot of it, I think, is our generation as well, because we're all
our moms
within the same generation, give or take a few years. But we all kind of came up in that generation of it was our duty to take care of everyone else.
Yes.
To the detriment of our own health.
Yes.
It's like the Handmaid's Tale. Blessed be the fruit.
Yeah. Exactly. The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's just ingrained. It was ingrained into society, but it's slowly changing, where men are putting the babies in the baby sling, and they're walking around with the baby, and they're
they're being that model.
I saw it with my kids, and my oldest kid is now 50. So I saw them with their kids starting out being co-parenting in a beautiful
this generation is pretty good about that.
They really are. They really are. So this is the kind of thing that today's younger crowd probably don't need as much help with. Some do, probably, because they still look at the Cinderella story and think somebody's going to rescue them.
Yes.
We all wish and hope for that knight in shining white armor to appear over the hill and
I
take
had
us away
one
from
that,
everything.
I've
but
been married 25 years, and I had one maybe for the first 10, so I got lucky that way. But then
the steed broke down and he just gave up. Yeah, I get it.
but I remember those days, and so
that's
yeah.
good enough. But you
That's good enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
Miss Marina, what about you?
Well, I had to learn and had to come to terms with the fact that my energy is my energy. My gifts are my gifts.
Mhm.
If I don't honor them, if I don't honor me, how can I expect someone else to honor it?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it was through the school of hard knocks that I realized that I don't have to make decisions about if I say no to someone, I don't have to worry about, oh, what if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? Maybe they don't like me to begin with.
I mean,
And they realize that they're taking advantage. So it doesn't really make that
it's
much
not
difference.
even in the equation.
No. So and I identify with so many of the comments that some of you have made, particularly with mothers where you've got other siblings and you're the one that is always doing things and so on. I think what happens is because our mothers and our fathers, let's not forget them too, they are our first point of contact. And sometimes they, without even meaning to, they give us the impression that, well, I looked after you when you were a baby. I brought you up to be a decent human being. So now
Brought
that
you in this world, I'll take you out.
yeah, it's time for you to sort of give back. No, if you raise me as a whole human being, then there is no expectation on your part, nor should there be an expectation on my part that, you're going to bail me out, I'm going to bail you out. So it's saying no it becomes important. And I mean, I think it's wonderful, Val. Yeah, you give them an explanation. I tend to shy away from the explanations because it just prolongs the conversation. So Marina, can you do that? No. Thank you for considering me. That's it. End of discussion. I don't have to offer an explanation as a way to validate that, no, this is, I'm not taking appointments on Tuesday. Tuesday is my self-help day. Boom. So it wasn't something that I was born with. It was something that I had to learn. And why did I learn it? Because I was giving away my energy. I was doing things for other people. I was always available. And I would drop whatever I was doing in order to help someone else. And I realized that when it was my turn to make that phone call and to say, I need a favor. Ah, gee, I was just out the door. Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah, I can't. You hear that a few times and you go, wait a minute, this isn't balancing out. Why am I dropping everything for you? And you have no trouble saying no to me. Maybe I should have no trouble saying no to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's oh gosh, Maureen, yes, she left you at the age of 3. Then you know what? that I would have no trouble saying no. No, I'm sorry. And for some of you, and I don't know whether you realize it or not, but I have been estranged from my mother for probably going on 5-6 years now. And it was too draining. It took everything out of me and nothing was there to replenish. So I love my mother. I don't wish her any ill. I don't wish her any harm. I want her to experience as happy as a life as she can, but that life no longer involves me. And I'm okay with that. I'm settled with that. It's all right. And one of the things that I when I came to the decision that I was no longer going to have a relationship with her, is I asked myself, okay, if this wasn't my mother, if this was a friend or an acquaintance who was treating me this way, would I tolerate it? And the answer is no, I wouldn't. Well, so then why would I tolerate it from someone, who is part of my family? The lesson is I can say no. I can make a choice. I don't have to walk away feeling guilty. It's just one of those things. So I think that as I get older, it is much, much easier to have respect for my boundaries, for my energy, and for the things that I do. So if someone was to continually ask me for a reading and there is no energy exchange, well, okay, it wouldn't happen. I might do it once and then boom, that's it. Because I've learned not to do that. There's a big difference between me offering someone a reading and say, don't worry about it. This one's on me. That's a lot different than, can you do this for me? I just need you to pull one card. No. That's,
I think there's different times when you would just say no. And there are different times, like with a mother or whoever, where you might say, I've had to adjust my schedule and I don't have the energy or time to do that. In other words, I won't be ever doing it in the future, kind of thing, without saying it. And there are some people where, can you just no?
Yes. Yeah. No, totally. I get it. That's why I think, yes, I agree with you. There are times
definitely just a no on that one.
Yeah.
Can I just say that this is an interesting conversation because I lost my mother when I was 33 and I'm going to be 70. So I love my mother dearly, but I had a real tough relationship with her. And when she passed, I was really saddened for years and years. However, I didn't have to worry anymore. And that sounds really awful. And it isn't meant to be nasty in any way. But it's like there's a real love-hate thing going on here. When people have their mothers that are 90 and they're still here, I say, oh my God, that's such a blessing for you. I didn't have that. But also, those mothers require a lot more energy, obviously, than when my mother has been gone for, 40 years or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But it's you're always still thinking, maybe not Marina, maybe Marina came to this decision and that was really smart, Marina. But many of us always want approval. And it doesn't matter how old we are. And it even doesn't matter if they're dead, actually. Yes. It's like we'd like to think that we would make them proud. And that's a huge thing to have on our shoulders. It really is.
Absolutely. The funniest thing, I never I never felt like I had to make my parents proud, not ever.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
no, but why? What makes people feel like they have to make their? I think it's because my parents never. I didn't have that kind of judgment about whether I'm good or bad or right or wrong or any of that. So I never had any. Well, they're going to measure me, so I have to. I never had that. Good, right or wrong, good or bad. Nobody ever said, "Oh, Valerie, you did a great job."
Well,
Nobody
my mother would do the martyr thing. She'd say, "I have 3 children, and all 3 have been divorced. What did I do wrong?"
Yeah,
well, honey,
yeah.
it wasn't your fault. But
Yes.
she played that martyr thing.
Oh yeah, I
And-
got you. My mom didn't play any of those games with me, and so we didn't get praised, we didn't get berated, we didn't get any of those things. So I guess I came out of there. I didn't realize until now. I never looked for approval from my parents, but I look for some approval from my kids.
Okay.
Isn't that
Well,
fun?
Now, my mom was never one to like overindulge in praise.
Yeah.
But if you did something, if me or my brother did something that made her really proud,
Yeah.
she would make a big deal out of it. You know, not in a way to garner attention to herself, but in making us feel good about accomplishing something.
There's only one thing my parents.
Go ahead.
There's only one thing, either my mom or my dad. If I helped cook and I made something good, that's as good. If it's only on the food, you don't care about anything else.
Well, it is sustenance. So there you go.
There you go. I think one of the greatest compliments I ever heard my mother give to me and my brother, and it was somebody was asking her what did she consider her greatest accomplishment in life, and she said both of my kids got a college education because she never finished high school. And she raised 2 kids on her own didn't even have a high school diploma, you know.
That is
So
beautiful.
that was a major thing for her.
It is a major anyway.
And I mean, you know, we both did it because we wanted the degree. We weren't going to school for her.
Right.
Yes. And it was.
But you don't know how you ended up there is throughout all that
through everything else
during your childhood.
Yeah. My mother was a workhorse. That woman worked her butt off morning, noon, and night. I watched her walk to and from work in good weather and bad because we had no car, you know, and there was no bus system in the small town we lived in. I watched her go without eating so that my brother and I had a full plate. I watched her spend hours after working most of the day sewing a prom gown for me or repairing a uniform for him because, you know, he played ball. And of course, being a teenage girl, you go to all the damn proms, you got to have a dress. She made all my dresses, you know, because she didn't want me to ever go in to a prom with somebody else in the same dress that I had on. It only happened to me one time. It was because she was in the hospital and my grandmother took me out to buy a dress and I bought a dress. And when I showed up at the prom, there was like 5 other girls in the same exact dress. We all had a different color on. We all had a different color on, but it was the same exact dress. And I thought,
isn't that right? I guess
I'll never do that again. So yeah, my mom always made me my gown. But I think I was lucky in the respect that because of the fact that she was a single parent and having to do everything on her own, that she didn't expect us to turn around and do for her when she got older. She was up until she physically couldn't do it herself anymore. She was still taking care of not only herself, but half the damn neighborhood. I mean, you know, that's just the way she was. And Marina, I think I cut you off, or were you through?
I must have been.
Okay. I was just sitting there and I was like, did Marina talk? I think
Marina set that boundary, Shari, so don't worry. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm the one who put out that video. Yeah. My channel, my boundary, my rules.
That's right. You did, Marina. Yeah.
That's right. And when you put that up, I thought, damn, that takes some real courage to do that, because I would spend half of the video apologizing for saying the video, because again, it's that Southern thing.
Yes.
You know, you've got to have an excuse for any time you do or you don't do something for someone else. It's
that's
expectation.
Mm-hmm. It's like society expected that from.
Yeah, and I know, like with me, it was the Southern thing, but I think it's also the generational thing.
Yes,
just the generation that we all grew up in. I mean,
yes,
you know, I think our kids, our grandkids are so much more lucky now because they have a chance to witness and develop relationships that are more on an equal basis, as opposed to what most of us, our age group and older, grew up
with. Here's an example. My grandson, who is going to college to become an EMT, he's going to the University of California at Davis, and he's living with his girlfriend. It's like accepted, of course. Yeah. Of course he's living with her. He's not married to her. And he's going to college. In my year of high school, going to college, that wouldn't have been a thing. That it's looked upon as normal to develop a normal relationship and to be out there and do your thing. Yeah. There's so many social things that have changed, the expectations, and I'm kind of glad things have freed up in order to allow healthy relationships to develop without, get the birth control out.
We've been talking about boundaries all night. Y'all see me. My dinner has been going to the animals as they sit here at my feet whining. I've been steadily like picking it apart and passing it down to them. It's like, all right,
that's right. So we need to teach our pets boundaries. That's the thing. Yeah. I see it all the time. I said, should I sit on the floor while you eat? My dog's
exactly.
Yeah.
I literally will like take my plate of food and I'll go outside and eat on the patio.
Yeah.
Even if it's freezing ass cold or burning up, because I escaped the animals. So
that's right. No eyes are staring at you.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, they're just there looking at me, and it's like, okay.
And they're so polite with their big eyes, just
yes, yeah.
And the dog whines
just like that.
Oh, that's the noise he makes. Like it's just
I would bark.
Heartbreaking.
I don't have the energy.
That's exactly right. It's like you. Mom.
And then if I give him a bite, then the cat's like, meow, like, hey, me? Where's mine?
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh so yeah. No, we have taught Clarity, our husky, that she gets last bites of whatever it is that we're having. So you wait patiently.
Yeah.
You will get that last bite. Every once in a while, we have to remind her, don't look at me so intently, because she'll come up and get real close and kind of look at
me. Have those eyes.
I'll say that to Kane, the little dog. I'll be like, I'm not through yet. You know that you get what's left on the plate when I'm done, because I put the plate on the floor.
Yes.
So go chill,
Oh my God, that's funny.
But no,
my husband, the first time when my husband and I first started dating, and I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, I don't remember which, rolled up, and my mother invited him to come over for dinner. And so, of course, for the holiday dinner, the Thanksgiving dinner, she always took out my grandmother's china. So it was all the best china dishes and everything. And he came over, and of course, our dining room table was two sawhorses with plywood over the top and a sheet thrown over it. That was the table. And
sounds modern.
So she had yeah, I mean, you had to fit all the food on it, right?
Yes.
And so, it's all this fancy china, and so everybody's fixing their plate, and she's got one of the dessert plates, right? And she's putting like a spoonful of everything on this dessert plate, and my husband's watching her, thinking, is she fixing like a plate to carry to a neighbor or something, or because her plate was right there and it was full, and he couldn't figure out what she was doing. And when she finally got a bite of everything on that plate, she leaned back and she set the plate down on the floor for her dog, a little teacup poodle.
Yes.
He was a little bitty guy, and which blew my husband away. He said it wasn't just the fact that she gave him a bite of everything on the table and he ate it. He said it was the fact that she served it to him on a china plate.
Yes.
I said, well, yeah, because we were eating off the china dishes and he would have turned his nose up at it. I've seen it happen before. He didn't get the china plate. That just blew my husband away. He couldn't get over the fact that my mother fixed him a plate on the china.
Yes.
He got a bite of everything and then set it down, and he ate with us while we ate.
Yes.
He was very polite about it. He was really a good dog. But
That's cute.
Yes.
That's cute.
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah,
Gotta love the animals. But yes, we need to have boundaries with animals too.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they whine and drive you crazy. Like
When you're eating that chocolate bar, ladies, you can't share it with your dogs.
No,
Right.
never.
Right. Or brownies or anything like that.
Or
Even
brownies.
grapes.
That's
You
it.
can't give
Chocolate.
grapes either.
Chocolate is poisonous
Allie?
for animals.
The very first trip to the emergency vet that Clarity made was when she was a puppy, and I did not realize how bad grapes were for dogs.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
They are.
And
Yeah.
I had a bowl of grapes, and she was sitting so pretty in front
Throwing
of me.
them at him. Yeah.
That I gave her a grape. Chris didn't see it. And then a little while later, I gave her another one, and he spotted me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I just gave her a grape." He said, "No, that could be poison. Oh my God."
Oh, see, I didn't even know. You guys are telling me.
I didn't know that either. Not with grapes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mhm.
grapes, raisins, whatever. So it
Oh,
was
raisins too?
a trip to the emergency where they induce the vomiting and all that kind of good stuff. And every once in a while, when he really wants to get to me, well, yeah, remember the time you tried to kill my dog? Stop.
Let's not, mince words here with the guilt. 'Cause-
Right.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Just hit you right between the eyes with it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And no onions or garlic either. Yeah.
And I see who was it? Play talking about her dad was a Gemini. Of course, I'm a Gemini. My late husband was a Gemini. We used to laugh between the two of us. We had 4 people living together, and it was very much like that at times. And we could be all over the place. And our son, bless his heart, was an Aquarius, and so he would just like melt into his room and disappear. They're getting crazy on me, So we didn't fight often, but when we did, Lord have mercy, look out. It was like 4 people having a fist fight, not just 2. But I'm glad now I really picked this topic, because I've been trying to keep up with what's been going on in the chat, and everybody's been talking about all
Everybody
these
has
different.
experience with this.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, and it's hard because you don't want to hurt people's feelings,
Yes.
but at the same time, you have to be able to kind of put the brakes on it and say, you know what, this is the one night of the week that I'm not doing a show, I'm not doing a reading. I just want to kick back and watch a movie, or something like that. And so, and invariably that's when the phone will ring and someone will call needing something or wanting something. And you're like, there was my evening of just relaxing, and so it's like, I got to where now I just don't answer the phone. It's like,
It's your phone. You pay for
I
it.
turn
You
the
don't
phone
answer
off.
it. Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
like last weekend, Amazon Prime ran a special for some of the newer movies that just came out over last summer, and that they were running for free for Prime members over the weekend. And I never got to go see Gladiator 2.
Hmm.
The first one I saw years ago, and it was great. And so I was really looking forward to seeing the second one. And it's a fantastic movie, y'all. Wow. And so we had it for free. So before my son left for work, I said, set me up in your room so I can go watch it in there, because he's got the surround sound, the big giant monitor, all this. All I got to do is kick back and I can watch it. And I'm surrounded, So he set it up, and I just, sure enough, not 5 minutes before I was heading in there to go watch it, my phone rang, and I looked at it and went, no, I'm not answering you. And I turned the phone off, which is another rarity that I normally don't do, but I turned it completely off and said, I'm going to go enjoy my movie.
You chose yourself.
Yeah.
I did. And I felt so much better afterwards, because it was just relaxing to just kick back and watch the movie and not be constantly interrupted.
You put yourself, finally, you gave yourself that downtime that you needed, and did something you wanted to do. Something that
Of course, then I had to turn the phone back on. And it was like,
but remember back in the day when we had the rotary phone that was attached to the wall?
Yeah.
And if
in
you
the
didn't
hall,
want to be
in the little
disturbed,
hole
you
that
would
was
take it
drawn
off
in
the hook, and it would just ring busy.
Yeah.
But yes, Book is absolutely right. They are not leashes. Just because the phone rings doesn't mean you have to answer it.
Yes.
You're paying the bill, not the person calling.
If they really wanted you, they'll leave a voicemail. Forget about it. Just let it go.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm not available. So and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's right. And we all need that downtime, especially for those of us who do this kind of work, because it's very draining. I mean, you get pumped up when you're doing it, but it's also when it's exhausting. And it's like, if you don't, something I've had a hard time teaching myself is that if I don't take that downtime of just vegging out with a video game or watching a movie or listening to music, whatever, then I'm no good.
No, you're not good.
I'm having
you really need that downtime. I just want to tell everyone related to that, Shari, because that's a really good point, is that when you are doing readings, and you really have to limit how many you do in a day. And I had to get it down to, I'm only doing it on 3 days a week. I'm doing 2 readings a day, and that's all I'll allow scheduled. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I know those 6 readings, and I know when I'll do them, because those are my only 2 hours that I have available for people to pick. So I am so relaxed the rest of my week, the rest of my days, knowing that these are my 2 hours on those days that I'll do readings, and I don't have to wonder. I don't have to, is somebody going to book a reading and I'm going to have to try and schedule it or schedule things around it? No, it is so much better to go ahead and set your hours. When are your work hours? What are your work days? It made so
I've
much
slowly been doing that, Val. I've slowly been setting, when someone contacts me, because I don't have the website up yet. And so it's still a matter of back and forth of discussion. But it's like, I will look at my calendar and be like, okay, there's this day, this day, this day. Those are the days I read on.
Yeah.
For these times, these times, these times. And if they're full, then they're going to go to the following week.
Get your website up
or the
and
week
going.
after that, and then, I'm looking forward
if you're
to
able to just set your hours and set the days, then you're not having to talk to anybody and try and negotiate with them. On the rare occasion somebody does email you and say, I can only do it on a weekend, you can make that determination then.
Right.
And of course there are occasions.
Or with me, it would be the opposite. I can only do it on a weeknight, because I don't do readings during the week.
That's
Because I do most of the shows during the
Okay,
week, and I
exactly.
work during the week. So weekends I do personal readings.
But
And
personally, I found it to be so freeing and helpful to my energy to just schedule my work hours, the hours I will do readings, and have it be exactly that. It's lifted me up to a new level of comfortability with everything. You know,
Totally, because you can plan around it.
You can plan
You're
around
not at the whim of
There
whatever
it is.
happens.
everybody else.
If you're a
Yes.
doctor, you have
Yes.
office hours. If
Yes.
you're a lawyer, you have
You
office
have office hours.
Yes.
You know, professions have office hours,
Exactly.
and they cater to their clientele, and they're open when their clientele is needing a service. Same
Exactly.
thing with setting a fee. You know, I don't need to double check and see what everyone else is charging. This is what my fee is.
Yes.
You know, you can accept it or not, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't need to explain it.
You don't need to justify it at all.
Yeah, you know, you go to a doctor who handles a lot of things, and then you go to the specialist who handles a particular thing, and naturally the difference, you know, between their fees is there. So, you know, it's almost like giving yourself permission to say, it's okay. This is what I'm worth. I'm okay.
Exactly. 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 And it really is about that, because it's about what you feel your energy is worth in that hour you spend, in that half an hour, whatever time it is that you give.
Because I don't want to book time with somebody who's paid for my undivided attention for that
pay
hour.
for it. They want it. They're going to pay attention. They're going to
pay attention, and it's not fair to them if I am falling on my face in exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because I've not allowed myself that downtime.
Yes.
Before those
That's why you've got to pick work days and work hours. Yes. Seriously. Yeah. When I did that, it changed everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, ladies, we just went over an hour. We're at an hour and 2 minutes. I didn't think we'd run this long when none of us had questions to read on. So, but I want to thank all of you for joining in this lively discussion tonight, especially chat. Wow, I have been like focused on. Normally, I tend to forget about the chat, and I forget to read it, especially when I'm hosting, because I'm doing everything else. And it's been quite interesting, because it's like y'all have really been getting into this topic and sharing a lot of good suggestions and information of how to deal with certain things, because it's hard. It's not easy. I mean, you know, you got family, you got friends, you got coworkers, you got bosses, or maybe you're the boss, and so you got workers to deal with. It's you got to learn to take that time out for you. So all right, y'all. Well, I'm going to say goodbye, because I know we've all got things to do, and I got to go eat what's left of my sandwich that the animals haven't devoured.
Yes, and next week will be on Val's channel.
Oh, that's right. Next week is Val's turn, so we'll all be over there. Y'all be sure. We'll all post something over the weekend-ish, right in that area, for the next show, and that's where you leave your questions. If you want us to read something, leave it in the comments, because we don't do questions out of the chat. So
and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all the channels.
Everybody's links are in the description box below, and so please make sure you go and leave a like and a subscribe to everybody, and leave a comment after the show is done. Go in and thumbs up, hearts, whatever, thumbs down, whatever. Just leave something. And even negative comments get picked up by the algorithm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all good. It means you're
this algorithm doesn't read the comments. It just notes that somebody left something there. So and that helps to boost us out. And
it does.
Perfect.
That's a big help. So thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. And we'll see y'all over the next few nights in the weekend.
Absolutely. Bye for now.
Bye for now.